I'm wearing some Google Glass today, walking around with it, testing some new applications. My company, Rep Interactive, is a content creation company, and we do everything from TV commercials to augmented reality, and sometimes we get to play with cool things like this little device right here. If you ever need a conversation starter, I think rolling around with one of these on is a good way to get started. This is my second time at DSE. Last year, I kind of took the crash course certified experts program. I wouldn't call myself an expert quite yet, but it allowed me to get my feet wet before the conference started and gave me some bearing. And this year I'm really coming to inspect some of the new technology and see how we could pilot some of this new technology with a lot of our current clients. My favorite emerging technology this year so far is the advancement of the image and facial recognition software. So working over there with Intel, we're able to use image recognition to scan consumers' faces. I know that could be a little Big Brother-ish or creepy to some people, but it's great for retailers that want to identify their current customers and the current people walking around in their stores and display content, whether that's an advertisement or some kind of entertainment content, or just gather information about who's walking around their store and who's looking at which products. Based on my experience as a content creator, as well as someone who's built out digital signage networks, if I had to give a piece of advice to somebody building out their first network, I would recommend testing out your potential network in various locations. So some of the biggest hiccups that we encountered when we deployed our first network was interconnectivity and consistent access to internet. So if you're going to be deploying a streaming solution that requires a 24/7 access to internet, that could be problematic at times, because sometimes Wi-Fi routers reset or the internet drops off, and you need to prepare for that and be able to make sure that, if the internet goes down, your content doesn't go offline. So I think that was probably the biggest hurdle that we had to overcome when deploying our first network. And I would say that being able to pilot in different kinds of environments is probably the biggest tip I would give to somebody that's trying to roll out a new signage network. We create a variety of content for all different kinds of clients. IHOP and Applebee's in the food space. We have hospitality clients like Wyndham and Marriott, and we work even with major sports franchises like the Los Angeles Dodgers. I think when considering which type of content you're creating, it's not only important to consider where it's going to be displayed and how large it's going to be displayed, but also who it's going to be displayed to and when. With some of the new technologies that are on display here at the Digital Signage Expo, we're able to see how you can display different content at different times to different people. And with dynamic signage that can use things like image recognition or facial recognition, or software programs that allow you to do things like day parting and include a mix or a variety of content in your content programming schedule, I think that you're able to take into account more variables than ever before, which is allowing us to roll out content that's more engaging and that's getting a much larger return on investment than content from previous years. Day parting is a common term used that basically means cutting up your content in a schedule throughout the day. So if we know that women between the ages of 35 and 55 are more likely to shop at a Ralph's supermarket between the hours of 11 a.m. and 3 p.m., then we're going to day part our content accordingly so that we can actually engage those mothers or those women between 35 and 55. And if we know that kids between the ages of 18 and 24 are going to come into the 7-Eleven between 11 p.m. and 2 a.m., then we'll make sure we queue up the necessary content to attract and engage those consumers. I think that there's a lot of different tools that are now being offered, and a lot of new tools that I've even just learned about today that allow us to display different kinds of content at different times. And by leveraging things like scheduling or day parting, or leveraging just being able to track a consumer throughout the store. Let's say we have a consumer that walks in the door and they look at the first screen that's located, near the entrance. We can now use some of the technology that's on display here to track that consumer. And as they walk towards the back of the store, I can actually display relevant content to them that's not necessarily what they saw when they first walked in, or if they were actually engaged watching the content and it seemed like, hey, maybe they like this product or they like this content, then I can actually replay that content to them in the back of the store as well. The biggest challenges I see moving forward in the digital out-of-home space or digital signage industry, the biggest challenge for us at least has been that the technology is so new and it's improving so fast, and all of the different areas are so fragmented that the biggest challenge is really just uniting all of the different vendors and uniting all of the different technologies into one comprehensive solution that works seamlessly. I think as the technology continues to evolve, it will become easier to join everything together. But in some areas you have software that's advancing faster than the hardware, and in some areas you have new hardwares that have been invented and we don't even have software for them. Or in some cases we can display content that's much more dynamic and much more advanced, and neither the hardware nor the software can even handle running the content. So I think that when I look at the industry, the biggest pain point, at least for an agency like us, has been taking all the different amazing solutions and all the different softwares and being able to really combine them into one seamless, effective solution that can work on a global scale. The Digital Signage Expo has been priceless for not only myself, but my company. I mean, we've been able to come learn about emerging technologies and literally take those technologies the next week and implement them with some of our global iconic franchises. People like Coldwell Banker, people like IHOP and Applebee's and the Dodgers, and they're always looking for new ways to attract and engage consumers, new ways to improve operations. And last year, DSE was huge for us. Definitely gave me the knowledge and information I needed to not only create effective solutions in the space, but I was also able to network with vendors from around the country and even in some cases around the world, and be able to build and put together the kinds of services and solutions that my clients are looking for.